for a big ovation, round of applause from the Athletic for Jordan Rodrigue. Hello, Jordan.
Hi, so glad to be out here. Oh my God, it's so beautiful out here. The breeze, the football, the grass, the sound of the punt hitting the foot of Ethan Evans and the bird squawking.
Is this how you write your leads? Just kind of stream of consciousness?
I'm flowing, guys.
That was
feeling
good.
it. I'm
This must be the
flowing.
life
I'm flowing.
of
Nice.
great writer.
The thought of the football. Wow. Isn't this special? Isn't this cool to be out here like this, watching camp in the embryo stage of a football team? I mean, who knows how this team is going to end up, but
Out the womb, apparently.
yeah, it's crazy, right? It's crazy with an old quarterback. You know, this is a good person. So I heard wins don't matter, or wins aren't a quarterback stat. Would you go with that?
I agree. Wins are a team stat.
So how do you define a Hall of Fame quarterback? We were talking about Matthew Stafford and the debate on him. Like, what's a Hall of Fame quarterback in your mind?
Yeah, I think, we know so much more about advanced statistics now that we can go back and remeasure things like EPA per play, expected points added. We can go back and look at team construction, roster construction. We could, and here's a crazy thought, watch the tape of what exactly does constitute a Hall of Fame quarterback. Obviously, accolades, the big accolades are very important. I'm not diminishing those. The Super Bowl, I'd know he'd love to have another one. But even without that second one, it is my opinion that Matthew Stafford is already on that Hall of Fame track. And honestly, I think when we make these arguments and we make these cases, we do need to go back and we need to do the research. We need to this dude's been playing for 30 years at this point?
Forever.
So we do need to go back and we need to really do a deeper dive into just how much he was lifting some of those teams that maybe don't look statistically great, or some of those seasons that were not statistically great, because you're looking at a quarterback who can lift a team to extremely high levels, but the floor of a team is also going to potentially drag that quarterback down at times, injuries, things like that. So I think, he is hell-bent, it seems like, on making sure there is no argument about this Hall of Fame situation, but I don't think it's just about wins and losses. I think you have to really do some deeper dive, not just with him, with every future Hall of Famer, Torrey Holt.
Come on, that's
you need
overdue.
to do some deeper dives on exactly what it was that their contribution to the fabric of the sport was, and continues to be.
She is Jordan Rodrigue with DeMarco Farr,
She is
JB
dead
Long.
right. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just thinking, what's a more telling statistic? A win for a pitcher in Major League Baseball. You're talking about evaluating Cy Young performance, or a QB win. I don't know if anyone wants to weigh in on that, but I think both have been deflated, devalued to such an extent that we're now in a different position. Jordan,
Let him cook, JB Cook. I know you got
I'll save that soapbox for another time. I did spend some time this summer, as we all do, kind of rehashing the year gone by, and I think there's a case to be made, Jordan. I want to see if you agree or disagree, that 2023 was actually Matthew Stafford's best season.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
And particularly where I think he excelled relative to his prior years was still making those jaw-dropping elite throws, the explosive plays, while somehow dragging down his turnover-worthy plays to career low levels. He actually led the league in both high explosive, high-caliber plays, the wow moments that go viral, but also he didn't so much as fumble last year, Jordan.
And I want to add to that, JB, because great stats. I love a stat. But great stats, and I want to add to it, he was something, third in the league in dropped ball percentage by receivers.
So it could have been even better, you're saying.
So it could have been even better than what we saw. And listen, that's not a knock on anybody.
Yes, it is. Puka.
But Puka will say it himself. He said it himself. He's got to clean up the drops. And it certainly isn't a knock, because I'm not going to knock a rookie for figuring out how to catch a ball from Matthew Stafford, in a situation that nobody expected coming in. There was supposed to be Cooper Kupp through the entirety of the year last year, and there just wasn't. And so I think that it was so impressive because you saw this level of play elevated in every phase of the offense because of Matthew Stafford's contribution, and also the work that these young kids and these young players put in. At the same time, Matthew Stafford was what do they call it, Benjamin Buttoning? I mean, it seemed like he was aging in reverse at this point, and I think that's infectious. I mean, I've said that about a couple of his teammates this year, because I think that's infectious. I think that really matters, and he did elevate people significantly last season, and statistically had an extraordinary, at one point, MVP conversation at the end of the year situation, particularly that back half of the season where everything really came alive for this team.
Is it asking too much to have a healthy Cooper Kupp, a healthy and balling Cooper Kupp, and have Puka repeat what he did a season ago? What does that look like offensively?
Yeah, I think if we're going to look at things like logically and realistically, because it like all things equal, if Cooper is healthy and go back to even a percentage of the Cooper Cup that we know him to be, there is going to be more of a split in terms of that target share. I think, remember, guys, going back to the very beginning of the year when Puka was sort of just getting his feet under him before, the rest of the world was watching Rams games, it was like he was the first read in the zone concepts against the zone defenses, and it was spamming to Puka, right? It was Puka, and then supporting cast, right? And a lot of Tutu coming in there, and then DeMarcus coming in through the last part of the season. But then it took a minute for that distribution of resources, essentially, to really click. Now, this is a team that's going to spread the ball around because they have a healthy Cooper Cup. They'll have a second-year Puka Nacua, who maybe won't feel like he has to be the hero every. And I think that's great to not have that pressure going into your second season. But I think we're looking at it realistically. You're looking at a much more even split. Now, production-wise, there's still high potential. You could throw the ball less and still get more production, depending on your designs. We saw Puka running a little bit different concepts, especially when he started getting some man coverage last season, showing he could do some of the deeper concept stuff, not just the mid-range stuff. And I think that that's where you can potentially get as much production. Maybe you're not being targeted quite as much, but you can also find ways to be as productive.
That got ugly in man towards the end of those games when they did man him up and he would catch it and turn. You would see that corner go, oh, my God.
I didn't know he could do this.
This dude's 200 pounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Help. Get here fast.
With DeMarco Farr and Jordan Rodrigue from The Athletic, I'm JB Long, and this is the Rams Training Camp Special live from LMU on your home for Rams football, 710 ESPN. Rams going through 11-on-11 work as we speak. This game just dawned on me. Will you humor me for 1 second?
Always.
Everyone have something to write with? Jordan, I know you have this great tablet. Okay, without sharing your answers, we'll share them on the air momentarily, but I want to ask a question. How many more years do you expect Shawn McVey to be the head coach of the Rams? From this day forward, counting this year. Let's just write down a number because I want to follow up with my context here, and we'll compare. Everyone ready?
Yeah, okay.
3, 2, 1. DeMarco, you read your answer first.
I said 5.
Jordan?
I said 13, so he hits out at 50.
Okay, I had 8.
Okay, all right.
But is it not telling that all three of us are writing down numbers that far, far, far exceed the average lifespan of an NFL head coach, given where McVay has been the last couple of years?
Oh, yes, 100%. Yes. That's the 5 is because him, not the team saying sayonara. This is your football coach. One of the best in the league. That close, a bad, I wouldn't say a bad throw, a great defensive play in Atlanta, away from being a 2-time Super Bowl winning coach. So he is that good. I think he can coach here for as long as he wants to. And I think as long as that quarterback spot is solidified and he has his fingertips on this offense, you're going to be in the hunt every single Sunday as long as he's your head coach.
The three of us have the privilege of talking to him regularly. And I think, Jordan, you as much as anyone have seen the change in his mentality. And if I can use the expression, the good look in his eye coming into training camp 2024.
Yeah, it comes back to me, the most important thing, and I think on a personal level too, I think anyone can take a lesson out of watching this dude basically grow up over the last 7 years, because that's really what it has been. I think we forget 30 years old, you're not grown up. 40 years old, you're not grown up, depending on the life you've lived. And he lived a pretty...
She's looking at me in a way that really cuts close to the heart.
Oh, my God.
I got to say,
what do you know, Jordan?
He's mentioned this, he didn't have to deal with a ton of adversity in his life. And I think, first of all, that's refreshing to admit that. But his adversity was extreme burnout, extreme fatigue. It was everyone watching him fail, everyone in the world watching him fail, just so recently after... standing on top of a stage, trashed and yelling, "Run it back!" Like that's a shot to the pride, and that's failure. That's really pure, true failure for the first time in his life. I think that what's been cool from a human perspective, and I know the three of us agree, being here every day and seeing it, and it's just like the best part of football is watching people grow up, experience the lessons that you can learn inside this bubble that we're all in. And either succeed out of that or fail. And I think obviously he's been successful coming out of that, but the phrase that always comes back to me is work works. It just doesn't get solved because you want it to get solved. It gets solved because you put in the work to fix it. And that's what he went about doing through that spring after the 2022 season, and then into the summer, and then all throughout the 2023 season. And those were words that came to him from A1 Aaron Donald. So you better freaking listen to that guy when he's talking to you.
No doubt.
So he's in a more sustainable place as a person, as a head coach, without sacrificing any of the rocket fuel that makes him a force of nature.
See, I disagree, though. I don't think anything about this job is sustainable. I just think you understand what depths you're going to have to go to and how to get back out of them.
Okay.
I really don't think any part of this job is sustainable, and you see it all over the place. You see it with Andy Reid. You see it with Kyle Shanahan. You're starting to see it with Matt LaFleur. You're seeing it with John Harbaugh. There is a level of like long-haul truckerness that is invested into this job, and what being a head coach for that long in the NFL is. It's little deaths over and over and over again. You are constantly outrunning your own creations. You're constantly outrunning your own ideas. Everyone is chasing you if you're out in front the way that all of those coaches have been and are. And you have to understand that's not always going to, first of all, that's exhausting, and that's not always going to look perfect. But when you're at your worst, understanding how to get out of your worst, that is what I think the gift that Shawn McVey got over those last couple of years. Not understanding balance. I'll believe it when I see it.
Not 7 hours of sleep.
Not understanding, like, sleep, fine, whatever, that's great. But, like, not, all of this stuff that's like the magic antidote. No, it's actually the work and understanding how to build your own damn ladders once you get down to the bottom of somewhere. And that's what I think he really learned. And that's what I think is what will sustain him, even though this is not a sustainable profession to be in.
I'm about to go do burpees, man. Come on. That's what I'm talking about.
I know. I was watching special teams today. I'm freaking fired up, guys.
No, but that's. I mean, you remember that last coach's show from that 5-win season? He was about as ragged out, burnt out as anybody you've ever seen. And if he would have said, I am done, I wouldn't have blamed him. Because like you said, you were at the mountaintop, and then people saw you fail. I never factored that in. And he's never been through that before. So that's got to be tough. That's like a undefeated young fighter losing his first fight. You've got to find a way to get back through that and get back in the ring. Here he is. The thing I love about Shawn McVey, he went through all that, and he came back swole. Not only am I back, I'm back better. You know what I mean? I'm back. I'm ready for a fight now. So that's dope. And that carries over to your football team. Think about what that breeds in the meeting room. When Jordan's talking to us the way she's talking to us. Now imagine him talking to these guys. They'll have you running through the wall twice.
Can I go with a few just rapid-fire Rams-related questions before we let Jordan get back to her work?
Hit it.
Give me a breakout star for the 2024 Los Angeles Rams.
Breakout star? Ooh, Cam Curl. I was just watching Cam Kitchens go on the jugs machine, but Cam Curl, already a really good player. I'm a big nerd about safety play. You guys know this. Mm-hmm. I really appreciate the fluidity, the savvy, the range that this guy has. We already knew he was a good player. Watching him in Washington, it was very clear. But watching him take to this offense like a fish to water and really assert himself, and also the range that he moves with unlocks Quentin Lake to be able to do lots of things, following the motion player, playing in the star, playing deep if he has to. Like, you can watch that Cam Curl's ability and his range as a deeper safety is going to unlock so many different things about what this defense can do.
How about Rookie of the Year from this 10-man draft class?
Just
if
from
I gave
this team?
you Verse or the field, which would you prefer?
Oh, Jared Verse for sure.
First-round pick at 19 overall. You think he's going to be the Rookie of the Year?
On this team,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're not going to hot take me here.
Yeah.
You're not going to
Clip
get me.
this, Caleb Williams.
You're not going to get me.
Jared Verse.
You're not going to get me clipped on social media.
I like
here.
it.
But no, Jared Verse showed up, and it's funny that a lot of the scouts are in town here for the summit that they do every year with Les Snead, and you talk to any one of them, it's like grown man.
Oh God,
grown man. Yeah. And like he showed up ready to go. He showed up like very vocal, very professional at the same time, but like, dude is chippy, man. You see some when the pads come on, when these joint practices start up, like you need an instigator. Aaron Donald's not here anymore. Jalen Ramsey's not here anymore. You need an instigator who can back up what he says and how he gets under the skin of these offensive linemen. I think that's going to be really fun to watch.
That's a real first-round end. I would say Braden Fisk, though, but I'm biased.
Oh, yeah, he looks great.
That dude's his feet. Don't his feet just go? I'm a fan.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I can't wait to see the pads come on because you want to see the feet lead him somewhere. You know, you want to see the feet translate to production. But I'm watching feet. I'm watching hand placement, and it seems like it's all. He's figuring it out. He's got all of it.
Last one for me. Who leads these Rams in receiving touchdowns when all is said and done this year?
Receiving touchdowns?
Cooper Kupp. Come on.
Oh, I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to go with the crazy one. I think they're going to get down to the red zone real nice this year. And then in the red zone, Colby Parkinson and Davis Allen.
Wow.
Yeah.
The tight end room.
I like it. I see it.
There's something so poignant about that.
But like
in
that,
the 11
like
personnel
punching through the red zone.
In.
I mean, Shawn is going absolutely nuts in his own mind on how they for all the productiveness. The red zone was still up and down last year, and then especially with a couple of maybe different fourth down decision-making processes, maybe kicking less, going for it more. I really do think that those tight ends, and maybe they won't lead, maybe combine to lead, but, you know, I think these receivers are, if everyone stays healthy, geared up to have a great season, but I would not sleep on those tight ends, particularly in the red zone.
Jordan Rodrigue from The Athletic, the author of some really impressive projects in recent years, including Finding Rams this offseason that takes you through the life of the Rams scouting process and going back to playmakers as well. Just the great series you did there. I'm sure there's something in the works. You don't have to share it with us, but just a wink and a nod if you've got a new
some fun stuff coming out this year.
I hope so.
Some fun stuff coming out.
Do you still get chills when you see like your name in a New York Times byline? Like the way your links populate, sometimes I'll just see you put something on and it's like the paper of record, the New York Times. That is so cool.
When I wrote my Aaron Donald farewell column, and it got published in the commentary section of the newspaper, not just the sports section. And I had a moment, and I ran around my town trying to find a newspaper, and I couldn't find one, and I went to Sprouts, and the two ladies were asking me why I was looking for it, and I told them, and they threw an entire party for me in the Sprouts.
So cool.
And I cried, and it was an amazing. I'm grateful for the opportunity. It's been awesome.
Jordan, you don't cry. Come on. It's football.
I was so emotional.
At least not in this interview she did.
That's
the
right.
only 15 minutes this summer so far.
I think I've cried a lot in interviews recently, actually, frankly. So.
Jordan Rodrigue, generous enough to give us some of her time here as the Rams practice at LMU with DeMarco Farr. I'm JB Long, the first of several guests coming up. We'll have MJD, and we'll finish with Kyron Williams, Rams running back, here at training camp with the Los Angeles Rams on your home for Rams football, 710 ESPN.